Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandy Glaze. I'm a personal transformation and self-development coach. And today is July 3rd, 2023. And it's really an interesting time to be watching what's going on in the world. People are waking up to realize that maybe things aren't the way they thought they were. I know I start out with a lot of my videos saying this, but there's something different in the air right now. People are really starting to find their voice and they're starting to use it. And I'm finding that very refreshing because what I do believe in, it's my heart's desire to help restore the human condition of consciousness. And to do that, we have to understand intentions of people, motives, tactics they use, who the enablers are, who supports them, who allows for the nonsense to go on, and really for ourselves, even what we want to achieve. So all of these things are coming into play. But what I'm finding is really interesting right now is people are starting to realize the games that are being played. So I know on my Facebook and a few different channels, I've been really posting different people's opinions about understanding narcissism. And to me, narcissism is a word. It's like any other word, right? It can be used to mean different things. It can be manipulated. But what they're doing is they're calling out the behaviors of the people who use abusive patterns. And I'm finding it quite refreshing because I was just watching an interview with Mel K. I can't remember the couple she was on with. And she's starting to realize, like, these guys have pretty big followings, but what they're starting to realize is all the people that are coming in and commenting in the comment section just to throw everybody off. And she's like, stop engaging them. And the example I'll give, when I was talking about children and protecting children, somebody would throw something out about the shot. Or if another time I was talking about children, they throw out whatever this new financial check system that Trump's offering, whatever it was. But I started to realize that whatever it was that I said, they intentionally made sure that their comments did not reflect on what, if it was a video, a post, or whatever it was, right? So these are just the little games they play. And it's important to keep in mind that social media and the internet was created by three-letter agencies. So who knows better how to manipulate these systems than the people that were trained in it? So anyway, so just keeping that in mind, right? So again, coming back to finding our voice, what does that mean? So when I try to assess the situation, I look for what's there, and I also look at what's not there. And when you're looking at what's not there, sometimes it helps you assess and wonder why it's not there. And sometimes I'm going to try to think of an example. An example will be, what's a good example of that? So something that's not there. So the distractions, you'll see in media, they want you looking over here and they want you looking at what's going on in France right now. Here's a really good example, right? So they're looking at they want you to see in France, and there's supposedly a lot of chaos there, which may or may not be true. We don't know, because with all the CGI and all of the things they can do with the internet, we don't know which stories are being manipulated and being just told for the sake of just keeping us distracted. And the one in particular, I'm seeing that the zoo, they let the animals out of the zoo. So there's a zebra running down the road, running down the street, and then there's an elephant running down the street and a lion running down the street. And I don't know about how they run their zoos in France, but I know here they have quite the perimeter walls and fencing around that you can't get in. Plus the animals are locked inside their own enclosures as well. So I'm sitting here thinking, are they just trying to ramp up the public to get us all watching what's going on in France? So if we're watching what's going on there, what's happening in Canada or the United States in particular that they don't want you looking at? So there's an example of, just what's not there. So they want you to see what's going on across the pond, but relatively it seems pretty quiet what's happening in North America. And I don't think that's the case, right? So keeping that in mind about the three-letter agencies, there's so much information coming out now with different congressional hearings and investigations, whether it's the IRS, whether it's the agents, I think it's from the FBI or CIA, who lied about the Russian hoax, whatever it is. There's so much information that is they're trying to bring forward. And a lot of these whistleblowers, they're coming out and talking about exactly what's happening in their organizations. And I think that's fantastic. But to me, common sense should present itself to us, the rest of us, that we should know that something is seriously wrong. And many of us do. But even just to have the story that this abuse of power is happening behind the scenes, we'd have to be idiots not to see how this plays out right across the spectrum, right? And it doesn't matter if they're high-level people in these organizations or they're just street thugs that they hire to come out and do some dirty work to intimidate whoever it is who's speaking up. It's really important to see how these games are played, right? But what I'm really finding interesting right now, so school's out. So June was all about pride, right? So, and not the pride of being proud of who you are, but just how you do it. Anyways, so it was really interesting. So what I noticed was some of our government-run agencies, now that the schools, government-run schools, are closed down for the summer here in Canada, what they're doing is they were offering Pride Month, where you go and pick up wine or drop off your empties. All these places, beer stores, everything like this is all offering and pushing this Pride stuff. But it was interesting because even yesterday they were still pushing it, and yesterday was July 2nd. So it was kind of interesting listening that they're still going to push it. They're going to push this all summer long. They're going to make it the season of pride. So then what's going to happen? It's going to become normalized. They're not even going to have to legalize it. It's going to become normalized if enough people keep going along. So it was interesting because whenever anybody asks me to donate to these things, I come out and I say exactly what I think it is. And I speak with conviction. So I want to talk about speaking with conviction. Say what you mean what you say. And I came out and I told the one woman exactly what I thought this was all about. And she's just, do my job, do my job. And I said, that's not good enough. And I could see one of the managers going back into the office, and she stopped and turned, and I could tell she was going to say something to me, but the way I was speaking, she didn't dare. And I wasn't bullying, I wasn't swearing, I wasn't acting out. I'm just saying, you're all going to be responsible for this. Is your regional manager going to take responsibility for this? Depending on how this turns out. But so my point was, they just turned and they started looking, and you could see a different look in their eyes. So you have to stand by your convictions, whether it's a medical procedure, whether it's something they're trying to force you to do. There's a lot of talk about more lockdowns coming. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I don't imagine that too many people are going to be keen about it, but at the same time, people are still wearing this thing, which doesn't make any sense either. So my message today is really about using your own discernment, trusting your own intuition, finding your voice. And like I said, trusting your intuition, because you see something online doesn't mean it's real. And I think they're getting really desperate because so many people now are speaking about the corruption, and we're just seeing how intricately wove it is in all aspects of organized society, all of the institutions. It doesn't matter, educational, government, doesn't matter what it is. But as people are starting to see this, what I think is happening is the collective is getting their voice, and they're just saying, no more, we're done. And sometimes that's all you need to do energetically to push that line, right? Because when you first start speaking up, people start fighting back, and then you speak up even more, and then they retaliate, and then you speak up even more, and then they start to listen. So a lot of people have been speaking for quite some time about what's going on and what's wrong. That's not when you're a threat. I don't think you're a threat until they start listening to you. That's when I think we have to, well, not we, but whoever it is, that's when they have to worry about people starting to listen and maybe taking on a different perspective. And it's a wonderful thing about being a female. We can change our mind. It's a prerogative. We can think one thing one day and think something else another. And what got me thinking about that was the Druthers magazine, if anybody's familiar with this. So this person, I thought I was saving trans kids, now I'm blowing the whistle. So this person was actually encouraging the surgeries and the mutilations and the blockers. And I just can't imagine what lives these kids are going to have. I just can't imagine, because there's no going back. But she's changed her mind on that. And it's okay to change your mind. And I think what we're going to find is people aren't looking to hold necessarily the average person accountable, but we are accountable. There's no doubt about that. But they're willing to look at it and say, if you're changing this around, maybe they'll be willing to cut you some slack. That's what I'm seeing in this. I'm not talking about the people who are actually doing the surgeries and doing the snips, because as far as I'm concerned, that's just abuse. That they should be in jail. So anyway, so what I am picking up on is that we're really starting to push through to the other side. And a lot of people are talking to me right now about purging, and it doesn't matter what you're purging. If you're purging papers, old papers you don't need anymore. If you're one woman was purging all of her concert tickets, and she actually had a garbage bag about this big of all her tickets, and it's like, what do you need them for anymore? You've got them in your memories. So what are these ticket stubs doing? So again, talking about recognizing the narcissistic patterns, because in my opinion, what narcissism is just it's a pattern of abuse, how you'll take advantage of somebody else, or how you'll inflict a harm on somebody else, or you'll try to demoralize or bring somebody down to make yourself feel good. These people know what they're doing. And I think it's time we stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think they're only just in the high positions in government or the institutions. I think it's a personality disorder. That's the conclusion I'm drawing. I'm not medically licensed or anything along that line, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know when somebody's behavior is offside. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share today. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Definitely speak with conviction and speak up for what you believe in. And we're all different. And even though we might have similar interests, it's okay that our interests vary somewhat. And I know one woman I was talking to, she was starting to see things in different dimensions, and she started thinking maybe she was going crazy because nobody was seeing her visions, what she was seeing. And I'm like, no, maybe that's what you're meant to see. So trust yourself, but learn how to go inside and really embody what you're feeling. Ask yourself, is this real? Is this mine? Am I supposed to learn something from this? What I'm also finding is a lot of the animal kingdom are starting to make eye contact with the humans. I'm getting a lot of it with the birds. Other people are telling me the same thing, and with different animals. And I think we're meant to connect just as much to Gaia, to Mother Earth, as we are to the cosmos. And if we can keep that balance of staying grounded, connecting ourselves, staying alert, not hyper alert, but just observe what's going on without attachment, or what do you call it? Observe, don't absorb, but just observe what's going on without attachment. And I think what's going to happen is, no matter what any of us think this is going to look like, it's not going to look like any of the above, but we still have to navigate our way through. So I hope this message is inspirational for people today, and that they learn to trust themselves a little more. And that's a big part of all of this, is when you trust yourself, then other people can't project what they want you to do on you, because you know you are your prime authority, other than creator, of course. But anyway, so if you find this helpful, please hit the subscribe and the like button. Share it with people that you know are trying to speak up and really trying to find the courage to do so. And there's a reason people don't speak up, because there's such a inverted system that if you speak up against the norm, it's almost like you get knocked down. And I was listening to Delbert Blair today, and he's talking about how many people think they've got an education. And this was back in 1998. This recording was made, and he goes, "You didn't get an education." He goes, "You got a training. You got an indoctrination." So a lot of times we think that what we know is to be true really isn't. It's just part of the programming that's being lifted. So if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it, and we'll see you soon. Take care.